All right, so let's talk about duck boat hulls for a second. More specifically, the thickness of your hull and what does that mean, or maybe what advantages does it give you? Guys, I had 20 years in the marine industry. I can tell you that was one of the most common questions was how thick a hull was when a guy was looking to buy a boat for waterfowl hunting. So what you're going to find is most major manufacturers, or let's just say common manufacturers such as Tracker Marine, maybe War Eagle, Express, G3, some of these big brands, these big manufacturing companies, a lot of their hulls are going to be 100 gauge aluminum. And that does not mean that it is a lightweight hull by any means. A 100 gauge hull is something that is very durable. I can tell you that over the years, many people that have ran these hulls for waterfowl hunting, no matter whether it was open marshes or timber, they typically had no problems whatsoever with their hulls. What a 100 gauge hull is going to give you an advantage on, in most cases, not going to say all, but oftentimes what it's going to do is it's going to get you more speed out of your high performance mud motors, especially like your big block engines, your 35, 40 horsepower engines. You'll get a little bit more speed. So if you're a guy who's obsessed with speed, you want a quick hull, a 100 gauge hull is oftentimes a really good option for getting the most speed out of your mud boat. What it also does is it equates to better maneuverability. So when you're making turns, maybe you're in the timber making tight turns, stuff like that, a lighter 100 gauge hull is oftentimes going to be very beneficial to you for maneuverability and the way that hull handles with those bigger horsepower engines. Now let's flip the coin to a thicker hull. So we'll use 0.125. That is something that you oftentimes will hear guys talk about. A 0.125 hull or thicker hull, what it's going to get you is long-term durability on that hull. So what I mean by that is if you're a guy who's rough on your equipment, you're going to be rough on your boat, you're going to be banging it up against cypress knees, you're going to be going full throttle through the timber, you don't care if you're bouncing off of trees, you don't care what you're hitting, then a thicker hull like a 0.125 hull is going to be something that's probably more beneficial for you over the long term and life of that hull. It's going to be more durable, but then again, it will be a little bit more heavier than the 100 gauge hull that we talked about. So you may get a little bit slower speed out of a 0.125, but what guys are typically looking for when they're buying a thicker hull like that, they are looking for durability because they don't give a crap about their equipment as far as what they're running it into, and therefore that thicker hull will be more beneficial.